This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
Hello, I'm CC Evans, the founder of Plugs Apps. Me and my friends enjoy doing lots of different events, from going to festivals, art shows, underground live music, EDM parties, anything you name, we're down for it. There's easily over 100 different ways you can find out what events are going on in your city, just like here in Charlotte. You can find events going on your social media feed, local blogs, Facebook invites to anybody just handing you a random flyer. I always thought it'd be a lot more convenient and user-friendly if all these events was located in one central place for you to access on your phone. So I came up with an idea called Plugs, where our goal is to be your go-to source for event information and help you find things to do. We plan to do this by creating unique feeds for each individual based on their interests and things they like to do. And we also want to create things where they can manage their events going along with this. One of the things, so off of that, you no longer have to worry about what you're going to do, and the Plus apps will provide for you things you can do each and every day. We plan to generate revenue from this app by focusing on building partnerships with local businesses where they can be featured listings, ad placement, and also opportunities where they can offer users push notifications. We also plan to provide users with a premium membership where they can get no ads and premium features for $3, starting at $3 for an annual fee. We plan to get 25,000 premium members by the end of 2027 to generate a minimum revenue of $75,000.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Panelists.
Let's see, just trying to organize my thoughts in terms of my feedback.
So, Cece, what's your background and why?
I was gonna say something.
You were going to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think you did a great job, which is usually what Chris likes to say. 2 minutes is a tough pitch, and I usually, whenever somebody sort of like stumbles on a 2-minute pitch, I tell them not to try to memorize, because it's impossible to try to memorize what's in a 2-minute pitch. I think you did a great job of sort of coming out of that sort of block that you had. I think the thing to do is to just think about 3 things maybe that you want to say. I think you try to cram a little too much in your pitch, and maybe that's what you were forgetting. If there's only 3 things maybe that you're trying to get across, you're not going to forget that. So, and use them as bullet points rather than thinking exactly, trying to memorize exactly what you're going to say. I think I'll come back to it. I'll let you
Good.
make a comment.
So, that was good.
Thank
It was
you.
really good, man. Did you? What's your background and why is this important to you? And
My background is in finance and, My background is in finance, and I have an MBA in marketing. Basically, this was just kind of like an itch that I had.
Right.
So I kind of started working on it. For the past 18 months, I've been experimenting with ideas. I taught myself how to code and launched the MVP version of it about 6 weeks ago.
So what stage is the company at right now? Is the product live?
Yes, we got the MVP web version right now, and the next goal would be to work on the mobile app and to develop the app to be product market fit.
Right. Have you thought about how you're going to acquire users and get traffic and all that sort of thing?
Yes, right now we have over 100 free users that signed up, and basically that's just through minimum marketing on Instagram. We basically plan to use guerrilla marketing, going to festivals. That's something I've done in the past, marketing at that, and social media will be huge for us.
Right. So, there's a couple guys here who ran a company around events, right? What did y'all, Gary, Chris, what did y'all think? Well, just like, what did you think of this thing?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a need for this aggregation. The challenge, of course, is that it really is, the value of it is a function of the completeness of the record. And there lies the challenge, right? In order for it to be valuable to the user.
Hey, Gary, stand up. They can't hear you. Stand up.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So in order for something like anything directory-based to be of value, you have to have completeness on both sides. It's chicken and the egg, right? So in order for it to be valuable to me as a user, I have to have completeness of events. In order for events to find it attractive to go out of the way to post it, they've got to have a large set of users. So I think that where you're going in terms of attracting users is you have two users in this case. You have events who need to post and create their events, and you actually have just really smart user base who actually use that. So that's
Yeah.
part of it. Getting that started, that collaborative started is the challenge.
Do you know Gary?
No.
He'd be an awesome guy to talk to because his company like was organized around events and dealing
Okay.
with events. Yeah, right here in
Awesome.
town. Yeah.
So another thought, as an investor, you said that you were pitching to investors, and you really need to think about, what do I want to hear when you're pitching? I mean, you only have time for a few points that you're going to make. 3 points is what I suggested. So you have to think about what questions I have. And I thought that your pitch was maybe more aimed at a consumer,
Users.
than a user, than
Yeah.
an investor. The questions that I was asking myself about what you're doing are, why is this different than anything else I've heard before? In terms of, there's so many places where you can find out about events going on, and you could probably be better, but that's really not the question. It's just how are you different? You're going to partner with local businesses, which makes me think it's going to be really hard to grow and scale quickly. How's he going to handle that? Selling to small businesses is really tough, especially as to scale. How are you going to make money? I mean, you started getting into that towards the end of the pitch. It's kind of tough to make money in the event space. So not just we're going to charge this, but what is it that you're going to be attractive to these businesses? And you go-to-market strategy. Just how are you going to get in front of the hundreds or thousands of events and the hundreds of thousands of local businesses that that are going to want your information? So how you are pitching and presenting and answering those questions is important. Again, you only have 2 minutes, and you got to hook me as an investor. And if you have something good, but not enough to get me interested in the next conversation. So think about me as what I am, as just an investor rather than a user, and that will probably help you aim the pitch a little bit better.
Okay, thank you.
What do people in the audience want to say? Who wants to say something? Yeah.
When I first moved here, I did look for.
Hey, I'm sorry, when y'all talk, if you stand up, it'll help the other people in the crowd. Yeah, thanks.
When I first moved to Charlotte in June, one of the things I did was go to different websites to, see what was going on, and there were maybe like 5 or 6 to find out what was happening here, when there's a food truck, what's going on, because there's always something going on. And kind of like those websites where you can go on one website and see what's going on with all the hotels. I think that's the kind of app you're talking about, where I can go to that one app and see everything versus trying to go and trying
Yeah.
to remember what website
Exactly.
that was that had all those events.
All right, exactly.
Yeah.
Can you actually explain how is it that you're different, if at all?
Well, basically aggregating all the data. I personally don't know of one that does that. And then creating a unique feed for users so each and every day they can get a list of events that they'll be interested in versus have to look for ones.
Why is it that you think that other places don't do that? I mean, why is it that you can do that and others don't? Because they're not dumb, right? I mean, they want to do the same thing. They want to have all the events available.
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's just a challenge. Most of the ones that I have come across are curated. So they curate, like a top list of things that they think that people would like to do versus something like the Yep for restaurants or the Flitster for movies. I want Plus to be like that type of thing for event.
How are you going to be able to aggregate, you think, the data? Is the data coming to you, or are you going to go get the data?
We're going to go get the data, so we're working on connecting to Facebook API, Eventbrite APIs, and other event sites like that to aggregate a lot of the data. And then we're working on different ways where maybe we can have people that make sure that all the data is in there.
The one thing I would suggest, whenever you find a company that, an investor says, well, there are lots of ideas like that or lots of businesses like that, is to show them, right? Is to show them some traction. Because, when you have an idea and you hear, and as an investor, you hear the same idea multiple times, you just immediately you shut down, right? When you hear, but I have X number of
That's right.
customers
That's-
and I'm growing at this rate, that becomes
That's
interesting.
the number one, in my opinion, the number one thing you could do to improve your presentation, which was good, right? The number one thing you could do to improve it between now and say December 31 is if you could say, and we've grown from 100 people on it to 10,000 people on it. Because if you said that, whoever you're talking to is going to go, huh? How'd you do that, CC? Like, what's up? How did that occur?
Right.
Because if you can, the idea that you're talking about is like
Isn't that
y'all have all heard. How many of y'all have heard of an idea like this before? Right? Yeah, me too. There's bands in town, and when you try and buy a ticket at Time Warner, Cable, try and sell you other stuff.
Yep.
This idea is out there, but in my opinion, all of them suck. Right? I've used them and they're terrible. Right? And so, like, I'm open to the idea of using one that's better.
Right.
And if you can have evidence that humans in the world think yours is a lot better by them giving you their attention and them signing up and them being users, man, that's a huge difference maker. And it separates you from being a guy who's got an idea to being a guy who's got an idea and has some traction and you're able to build something. That to me, so like, if I were your partner, I would say, man, how are we going to get from 100 people on this thing to 10,000 people really using it as quickly as we can? Because that's the way we're going to
But
differentiate.
the other thing, though, it's important to really understand why is it that other people are not able to achieve what you're trying to achieve. And don't think that they're just not smart enough. Don't
Right.
think that they're not working hard enough. Because every single entrepreneur that I know works really hard and really thinks a lot about their business. So there are probably things, and so to be able to say, I'm not sure why they're not doing it that way, you probably don't want to answer that. What you want to do is go back and look at those businesses and see how they're doing it and understand what is it that you're doing that is different fundamentally, what approach, and then take that out and then talk about that.
What do
Okay.
you want to say?
I mean, my question's off of where you scraped the data from when we entered public APIs. I think to sort of play off of what they were talking about is really solidifying your consumer value proposition. And then if you're pitching to investors, how does that core consumer value proposition relate to them as an investor? Right?
Right.
So like, let's say you maybe have a really good algorithm to scrape APIs and create personalization for the consumer. How can that personalization for the consumer equate to better business value for the investors?
Right.
Right.
Maybe targeted advertising or something like that.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah, Rob, you want to say?
So CC, nice job. I like the name.
Sure.
Potential users. What is the website?
Plugsapp.com. Plugsapp.com.
That's plugsapp.com. Go sign up. Help CC out.
I'm a user of the Live Nation app, and like Chris, I think it sucks. I'm still getting shows in California.
Right.
I've tried to change my profile a number of times. So keying in on that and making it very relevant to the type of shows or cultural
Right.
events that I want to do. I think that's what sounds like you're doing. I want to use it, so
Yeah.
I'll definitely sign up.
I'm there.
Appreciate it.
Hey, man.
Are there any partnerships you can create to help with that you can then place maybe some of the smaller venues, things like that?
I thought about that route, but scaling it by doing a lot of partnerships, I thought that'd be kind of difficult. So, yep.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man.
Two things that I thought about. So one question was how do you market and how do you scale to get users? What I found is easy to do is actually promote someone's stuff for free. So let's say I do 10 events a year, you just promote all 10 of my events, and then I'll promise to put them on your site. And therefore, and I kind of force my patrons to actually use your site to find out events. When I know my next events, you can find out the next one.
Sure.
Plugs at. The second thing was there is a huge gap between Ticketmaster and other apps like Applause and Live Nation. Like you said that, I went to California for one weekend and I came back and it didn't work. Ticketmaster had a huge, just like they crash every time it's a major concert, and when you switch and giving away tickets, so their event data is not, it's just not right, and it burns me up because they're a multi-million-dollar company which should fix it in the date. It's happened to me multiple times. A lot of people complain about the dates and the time
Yeah, because you had an app for clubs, right? Didn't you for a while? Didn't you have the one where you could vote on songs in the club? That was not you?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was kind of a cool app. I've never been to a club, but it sounded like I could imagine it. So
I
like,
know what you're talking about.
yeah.
He sat upstairs. But,
Okay, yeah.
But if you reach into like the festivals, and I think it's because of I deal with a lot of independent artists in festivals. They have no way of promoting their app. Not promoting their app. Promoting. They have a way of promoting their event, but what they do is they just, it's a fishnet. They post their event on every site as multiple as possible.
Mhm.
And so one more site is not going to hurt. So therefore, they kind of bring all those events in as well. And then you just tell them, hey, I'll promote your event, no cost to you. Let me promote it for you.
Right.
Google ads and stuff like that. So you're promoting the event via your site. So
It's good.
Okay.
Way to go, CC.
Oh no, that's great. That's great input. Definitely take that.
One comment, kind of pulling together what Chris said in that comment as well, is one of the biggest challenges you have is when you talk about things to do, as she pointed out, that's a really broad space.
It really is,
If you're trying to get 10,000 users with things to do, one of the, probably in my opinion, one of the best things you can do is hone in on a subsector that you can really own to show that traction, all while knowing that you've got this bigger market out there. Because if you try to do it all, you're going to be, back to the directory issue, you're going to be a mile
Right.
wide and an inch deep, and you're never really
Yeah.
going to get traction.
I agree.
But you've got your focus thing, right? You want to do EDM, basically, right?
Right now we're focused on art, live music, and cultural events.
Yep.
So,
Cool. It's good, CC. Good luck, man.
all right. Thank you.
Way to go. Yeah.